Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Friends, this Saturday, 11th March 2023, we hope to discuss the Ganakamoggallana Sutta from the Majjhima Nikaya, or the middle length discourses. The objective of this sutta is the attainment of Nibbana by following the gradual training, gradual practice, and the gradual progress. Here in this sutta, the accountant is Ganaka, right? Ganaka means accountant, named Moggallana, came to the Buddha and inquired whether in the Buddha's teaching also there was a gradual training, a gradual practice, and a gradual progress, as in other important things in life. For instance, like building a great mansion, or learning the martial arts like archery, or in learning accountancy, etc. The Buddha answered that in his teaching too, there were these three stages, that is, moral virtue, mental concentration, and wisdom, leading to final liberation. The Buddha elaborated the process into 7. That is, under moral training, there is sense restraint, moderation in food, and devotion to wakefulness. Under mental concentration, there is mindfulness and clear knowing. You know, in the Satipatthana, you get clear comprehension, it's the same thing. And under meditation, wisdom and final knowledge, which leads to arahanthood. Let us talk first about moral training. It can be under 2 headings. That is, the mundane morality for the laity and the deeper morality of the renunciant. The morality for the laity refers to a set of principles that will help people to live together harmoniously by understanding what is right and acceptable. The 5 precepts of not killing, not stealing, not abusing the senses, not lying, and abstaining from alcohol and drugs, all in the negative, isn't that so? If practiced, will lead to fair play and respect for each other. These precepts are a code of conduct, no commandments, right? And we should know how to apply them in our daily lives, no matter whether one is a Buddhist or not. If we lacked morals, our interactions with others would only be based on personal interests and desires, without any thought of what is fair and just. Morality is not only doing the right thing, but also developing qualities like honesty, kindness, being polite, looking after one's family, parents, generosity, gaining trust, not breaking the laws of one's country, treating others with respect, avoiding violence, respecting others' property, etc. To be an upstanding citizen, one should be able to forgive, not gossip about others, donate to charity, and help others in need. Sometimes, to act morally, individuals have to sacrifice their own short-term interests in order to benefit society. Suppose, for instance, you want to build a wall to guard your property, but it obstructs the neighbor's driveway. So what you do is you stop it. A life where morality is given prominence is a life free from restlessness and remorse, where there is no regret later on. The Buddhist practice starts with morality and becomes gradually perfected throughout the journey in samsara. Nobody is perfect, but we can attain perfection by little. Any action is good or bad by its consequences. If it's beneficial to oneself and others, it will bring good results. Whatever faith one belongs to, you may have any beliefs, right? According to your religion. The Buddha teaches that if one does not want to die, then one should not kill other beings, animals included, for they too want to live. When looking at the morality of the renunciant, according to Ajahn Chah, the Ajahn Chah is no longer there now, but he was supposed to be even an arahant, great teacher. So, according to Ajahn Chah, if one is collected and controlled, one is moral. The renunciant's intention when making decisions and knowing what motivates them to take any decision or any action are important factors in deciding about their morality. She or he must be aware whether ignorance, aversion, attachment, desire, or compassion, generosity, and kindness was behind the choice of action that was taken, and also the short-term and long-term consequences according to the teaching of the Buddha. Buddhist practice, which includes meditation, chanting, mindfulness, and self-reflection, make this possible when there is sila, loving kindness, and compassion, and both inner and outer peace would follow. This creates a powerful upward movement. Sila is also an antidote to desire. Desire, as we know, is the cause of all our problems. Many brutal acts have been done in the world today and in the past in the name of religion. They were committed because certain moral beliefs or faith were placed above humanity. They thought that suffering for a cause, such as faith or God's law, was righteous. But in Buddhism, there is no justification for causing others to suffer due to faith. Venerable Walpola Rahula, a great teacher, Sri Lankan teacher, who was a very erudite person, now no longer living, says that the idea of moral justice arises out of the notion of a supreme being, a God who sits in judgment, who is the lawgiver and decides what is right and wrong. So he calls the idea of justice dangerous. The next factor under moral training is sense restraint. This is, the senses, our 6 senses, the restraint of the senses. This is directing the senses away from unwholesome mental objects to wholesome ones. When we look at life with wisdom and right view, both must go together. Right view is the first factor in the Noble Eightfold Path. And wisdom is the last one, right? So, right wisdom and right view, according to the Noble Eightfold Path, we can see that thoughts and actions of ill will and hatred arise from our attachments to worldly pleasures and happiness. That is our own, right? We always think of our own happiness and our own pleasure. Lustful or miserly thoughts also come from desire. Buddha advised the laity to practice generosity and morality by following the 5 precepts daily and 1 day per week to practice the 8 precepts or even 10 precepts. The additional 3 precepts are not eating after midday, from seeking distraction and entertainment, from decorating the body, and also to avoid all sexual activity. This was to give up the busyness of normal routine, so that both body and mind would get rest and seclusion. The energy in the mind would increase and mindful concentration or reflection would become pleasurable and peaceful. When caught up in worldly activity, the mind is scattered and mindfulness is weak. Just as the body needs clean air, fresh water, and healthy food to function well, the mind too needs proper nourishment. We very, very often forget about the mind because we don't see it, right? When we are restrained in our senses, naturally, skillful qualities will become stronger and guarded from unskillful thoughts and actions. This is a kind of renunciation. Now, earlier we talked about renunciation also, not today. So this is also a kind of renunciation, for one voluntarily give up one's attachment to always thinking, I am right in my opinions and judgments. It will bring peace in your home with your spouse and children, for you give up your attachment to your opinions and views. To have proper restraint, one must see the real problem. It's by letting go of the cause of suffering that true contentment will come. We should recognize that all of us have an inner drive that wants to join in many pleasures, sexual urges, need for personal power, recognition, and the desire to be creative. Also, another move is the wanting for, now this is the opposite of this, to want self-restraint, not to give in to the ego's desires, like a wishing to become free of this cycle of wanting and the fear and anxiety and stress that comes with it. Then also we see that this wanting takes away the joy of being alive, especially for the laity. For some people, being a parent is very meaningful because it develops selflessness and unconditioned love towards another being or beings, and finding happiness in serving another. Because all parents, most parents at least, look after their children. And whether they have or not, they would try to give their children the best they could. In the Buddha's teaching, understanding sense restraint for the renunciant makes a slight shift from the same as for the laity. A very meaningful simile is the one of 6 different animals being tied to a post with a strong rope. They pull in different directions. Similarly, if a monk's senses are not restrained, the different senses will pull towards the agreeable things and away from the disagreeable. Here, the strong pillar is mindfulness, and the 6 animals are the 6 senses. This process brings only unhappiness and restlessness, that pulling, towards something and away from something. Being constantly pulled between the wanting and the rejection, the monk is not peaceful. When we are trying to find true happiness, calm, contentment, and peace, for the sake of having a mind that can be concentrated. You see, we know that the mind can be concentrated, but because of this pulling this way and that way, it cannot be done. Being a monk, it's easier to be content with little. He should have, though I said he, it means she too. She or he should have few possessions, few desires, and few attachments. While being aware of what the body needs And by just removing the element of desire and attachment, one could remain neutral and equanimous. Suppose one has an itch, not necessarily a renunciant, anybody, right, has an itch. One needs to scratch it. When we see it with wisdom, we see that it's not your body that wants to be scratched. It's the mind that has taken hold of that sensation and makes it painful and hated and want to get rid of it. The desire is wanting to change. Actually, we are not aware of it, for we do not carefully observe what's happening. This knowing is essential even in the case of the other senses. If we have sense restraint, we could apply the same discipline to every situation. That is, catch the mind like a doorkeeper before anger or desire arises. The next one is moderation in food. This is also directly connected to one's mind. If one eats with awareness, one would know the taste, the texture of what you are eating, how much you have eaten, how it makes you feel in the moment, and also afterwards. If you eat too much, you will be so full and, puffed up. It will be difficult. Mindful eating is not restricting the food intake, but knowing and paying careful attention to each bite, listening and caring when your body is hungry. One cannot focus on the eating while watching TV or having a telephone conversation. Today, food has become not only a necessity, but also a reason for sickness. In many affluent countries, I didn't mention the names of countries, but you know them, complications like obesity and overweight have arisen from overeating and drinking and too little exercise. Recently in Sri Lanka, when the prices of groceries had increased, the people were lamenting that there was no sugar. They didn't realize the ill effects of taking too much sugar. 2 meals a day is sufficient to keep one in good health. Avoiding the night meal gives rest to the body and it makes it lighter. A certain scientist has found that depriving the body of food for more than 12 hours diverts the energy from the digestive system to the immune system so that the body is able to rebuild and heal itself. This is a task that helps to know yourself and your well-being. If your family supports your efforts to live healthily, it will ease your attempt and make it a success. For the renunciate, moderation in eating is a necessity. For the Vinaya rule is not to take solid food after midday. When taking the meal, reflecting wisely, thinking, eating is not for amusement or intoxication or to obtain physical beauty, but only for the continuance of the body. to end discomfort and for assisting in the holy life, so that old feelings of hunger may be ended and one can be healthy, blameless, and live in comfort. Also, one could be thankful not only to those who provided the dana on that day, but also the grower, the maker, the shop assistants, etc., who made it possible to give the food to you. The next section is wakefulness. Some people eat a hearty meal and go to sleep, but are unable to get a clear and healthy rest. The quality of your sleep and wake up depends on how you have maintained your heart during your waking hours. If you were angry, jealous, fighting, frustrated, and sad, your mentality may not be good and the mind not peaceful. If the mind is free of such defilements, you will be able to meditate even before falling asleep. The best meditation at that time is the metta meditation. For the renunciate, bent on attaining higher spiritual states, sleep could be a hindrance, leading to sloth and torpor. The Buddha encourages the trainee to be mindful of the mind during the day and even while walking, so that no impurities can enter the mind. Buddha advises him or her to sleep for 4 hours and never sleep during the day. Mindfulness is the next practice, which is equally important for the laity and the renunciant, for living without stress and confusion. Because many ideas, hopes, thoughts, etc., crowd the mind of the worldling. Focusing on anything is sometimes difficult when the mind is crowded like that. By keeping the mind completely in the present and wisely examining our thoughts and emotions, we will be able to understand the Dharma or Dhamma through our own experiences. Mindfulness makes us fully present, being aware of where we are. Now, when we are in the temple, it's a different place from home. So our behavior must be, in accordance with the atmosphere or with the environment, right? So, whatever, not only to be aware of where we are, but also what our work is, and not to be reactive about what's happening around us. When we are mindful, stress is reduced. And by seeing our own mind, we gain many insights while increasing our attention to the well-being of others also. Also, we may be able to stop judging and watch the happening with warmth and compassion instead of criticism. It's something that is in us, which we should develop. That compassion and kindness and warmth, it is in us. We have only to develop it. The renunciate has given up the worldly bonds, and his or her mind may be stilled and calmed easily. The Buddha says, the guardian doorkeeper, mindfulness, will not allow all thoughts and sensations to enter and disturb the mind of the renunciate. See if it is wholesome or not before entering. Then the purity of the mind can be maintained. According to the gradual training, mindfulness and clear comprehension or clear knowing come at the final stage after the training and practice. Then we begin to understand the underlying motivation for our actions and if they are useful to us and others. We might see the universality of our existence and how our suffering comes, and also the way to free ourselves. By changing ourselves through the practice each day, we become more peaceful, accepting, less selfish, and we could share these insights with all those around us. Thank you. Now, if you have any questions, please ask. Then let us do a little meditation. Now, first thing is the posture. That is, you have to know that your head and neck are correctly placed on the spine and it is straight. Not straight like an arrow, but, straight. Now, if you are seated, feel the seat, whatever it is, whether it's a chair or cushion, whatever, feel it. And that you have come in contact with the cushion or whatever, the seat, and your body, they have come in contact. If you are seated on a chair, keep your feet flat on the ground. Otherwise, if you have crossed your legs, then also you will see that they are placed properly. Let them all relax. Let your muscles relax. Now think that you are drawing awareness from the ground into the body. This awareness is like a warmth or energy. It will move up from the feet to the knees and up to your belly, to the lungs, up to the shoulders, arms, and up to your head. Now broaden your awareness to the buttocks, to the lower part of your body. Now look at your spine. Trace the spine up from the bottom to up until the skull, where the spine touches the skull. Now gather your muscles there and awareness at the bottom of the skull. Now imagine that the upper part of the spine is drawn towards the sky and the bottom part towards the earth. Relax your shoulders. Focus on your shoulders. Then bring your focus down to the arms, right down to the lower arms, and then to the fingers, hands, fingers. Feel the vitality, the warmth in the hands, touching each other. Bring your awareness to the belly. See how it rises and falls. Take your awareness to a little higher to the upper part of your body. Feel the chest. Even the chest rises and falls as the air goes in with the in-breath. It rises. The whole body rises and then falls. That is rising and falling. Rising and falling. Move your awareness to the face. Make your face muscles relax. Now see how you breathe in and out through the nose. In, out. In, out. Look at your breath. Be aware of your breath. There is a lot of space around you. Now take that space or spaciousness into your body so that you feel sort of lighter in the body. Now feel your connection with the ground. Slowly open your eyes. Feel the environment around you. Then I'm going to stop. Thank you for coming. And may all of you be well, happy, and peaceful.